Namaste, gods, goddesses, and emissaries of light. This is Dr. Shreya Tayen. If you're new to my channel, please press like, hit subscribe, and do not forget to click on the notification bell so you can be updated on my latest and my current videos. Okay, everyone, I tapped into the energy of the divine masculines, and they are in some really deep introspection and just basically in their emotions right now and deep, deep thoughts. So let me go ahead and clear. All right, so I cleared the energy. And let me just go ahead and spray some of my wonderful Kick Karma in the Ass spray. Yes, that is the name. I meditated for this name and I'm like, angels, guys, are you sure? Yeah. Let's use the pendulum. Is Kick Ass Karma in the Ass a good name for the Karma spray? The pendulum does not lie. The pendulum said yes. So, with that being said, that is the name of the new spray. All right, you guys, I can't wait to get this to you guys as well. I am in the development stages of getting the labels done, okay? And once that's complete, I'll be taking orders. All right, let's go ahead and get into the reading. Before I do so, let me call in help. I call in all 6 elements: air, fire, water, earth, spirit, and ether. And I also call upon the highest of the highest of the high, which is Yad-He-Vahe, to be able to give me the information that is necessary for this reading in all directions, time and space, past, present, and future. And so it is. Okay, so crowning your reading, you have the 9 of water. There is something that is interesting that I want to share with you about water. Water is fluid and it has the ability to flow, but it also has the ability to stop its flow. This card is represented by the energy that I'm pulling: Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. And out of all of the 3 water signs, Cancer is known to be one of the most clingiest when it comes to relationships. But let me tell you, they are one of the first ones to skedaddle when their emotional energies are being depleted. And so with this reading, the divine masculine is in this place where a light is being shined on his source of emotional pain, past experiences that had led a emotional trap that had left him in an emotional imprint, and the effect of the past experience on the present moment is now being brought up for I would say review. And so now the divine masculine is in this mode of breaking the cycles and removing the emotional hooks and blocks that had left him entangled. And this 9 of water, it brings emotional enlightenment and awareness, which is the process of becoming lighter. Okay, enlightenment means to become lighter and move into your light body, which is now being done collectively. All right, so the situation that has been going on with the divine masculine and the divine feminine proves that ignorance is not bliss. The divine masculine is approaching the situation with an open heart. He is taking strength, courage to overcome fear, and ignorance. The very first thing to be born in the dark of the void was the light. The Nine of Waters represents a need to embrace an open heart and to allow the light of love to transform and transmute and heal any emotional pains, blocks, or any disconnects, and turn them into knowledge that sets one free. You know what? Our past experiences, whether they be good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, can leave us in an emotional turmoil, leaving its emotional imprint on us. You see, the divine masculine is remembering the joint relationship and the joy and the love which had inspired him, and that sense of well-being that he once had when he was in the relationship with his divine feminine. Okay, these memories were one of the greatest experiences that he has ever experienced in his whole entire life. While in the background, the bad memories can cause us to swell up in pain and tears and suffering. And the old wounds that often hunts us from the past, they come up so that they can be healed. And even though we may have forgotten about them, it is necessary. It's definitely a necessary evil at this now moment. And in this place of introspection, he is now being exposed to those old wounds for healing, you see. Have you ever heard a song that was playing on the radio, then you had tears form in your eyes because the song was one that you shared with someone that you truly love, but this person just broke you to pieces. They broke your heart. They did the unthinkable. Have you ever heard or had someone say something that triggered you emotionally because they touched a deep-rooted, deep-seated, deep-planted situation that a wound is attached to, and you remember another person saying the very exact same thing? All too often, we do not know or comprehend why we feel or react the way that we do, but we do. We're triggered. And what makes it even more worse is that through our memories, it can either emotionally bind us to our past, or it can present within itself the imprints that becomes triggers, so we can focus on this, not react, but respond in the most purely dignified spiritual way, instead of the old emotional 3D way that we used to always grab to because it worked. But in this union, this multidimensional union from source energy, we have found that we have to do things differently. We have to move differently, you see. If our minds were a bank in which we could choose to deposit memories that basically would serve us, and the majority of them will be good, and the ones that make us smile, and we could discard those that make us cry, we would definitely do so. Unfortunately, we don't have that choice. You see, we often don't filter our thoughts, so whatever comes, comes. And when we have those emotional triggers of the past, they tend to come back to hunt us. The divine masculine is now finally at that state of being where he is learning to be mindful and not to react with all the emotional triggering that can basically put him in a trigger squeeze. Okay. He is currently at this point where he's reached a sense of emotional enlightenment, a state when he can be able to free himself from the shackles that once held him as a prisoner of his past. It is well noted that the Nine of Water, it offers the choice to ask yourself, are you going to be influenced of reliving and replaying out the past memories that often are counterproductive to your now moment? Or are you going to hold on to the influence of emotional stability, both physically, spiritually, and mentally, and allow for these to come up for healing? A lot of the divine masculines were in non-communication with the divine feminine because he was unwilling to look at the source and the root of those emotional reactions and triggers. He was in resistance, and he was unwilling to use it as an opportunity, as a catalyst to acknowledge the truth. And now the divine masculine is making a choice to break those cycles that he was in time past afraid of, even at the point of coming out of the spell work and the hypnotic state that the karmics had him under. You see, the divine masculines are now aware of the spell that they was put under, and they are very conscious, aware where it came from. You see, it came from the karmics, and sad to say, even family members had their help on it. They helped to invoke this spell, and I am not being metaphorical. I am being very literal, okay? They even helped put the spell on the divine masculine because they so much in their own ignorance hated the divine feminine so much. They could not stand her, you see. They hated the DF. They hated the union. They couldn't fully grasp it. And they did not like that it was this fairy tale romance, as they often will call it. And they convinced the divine masculine that it wasn't real, just because they had not experienced the love like this, because of its magnetism, because of its draw and its pull. And nor will they ever fully realize the depth of such a love. They thought that the divine feminine came in to steal the divine masculine away from their family. But rest assured, the Nine of Water, it is the Nine of Cups in this deck. The Nine of Cups is wishes coming true. There is a new beginning in the making for this union. And this is what the divine masculine is moving towards. The divine masculine is so full of emotions right now that he is actually a live wire. Okay? He can, at this moment, use this for his good, or he can use this for his evil. Now, in this place where he stands, if he chooses to use this to suffer or to catapult him, he will be in harmony with either his karmic path or the necessary path that he needs for his ascension. But the choice is up to you, divine masculine. In your awareness, you are now at this point where you are gaining mastery over self. You see, you're not handing over your power and control as you often did in times past. This divine masculine is now calling the shots in his own life. And he's not seeking outside approval because he realizes that he got himself into this place in the first place. And now he's in a place of feeling trapped with the all tied up card, you see. He feels like he cannot move. But don't forget about the Cornucopia. With the Cornucopia card, it represents the abundance and wealth that you have with your divine counterpart. You see, you recognize very well where your bread and butter is from. The seeds that you have planted and the energy in your life is now gearing up and getting ready to be harvested in something more beautiful and significant than what you have currently in your lot in life. Spirit is getting you ready for a great feast of abundance and preparing you. And now you are being applauded along the way from Source, and your efforts are now being realized, and you're making dubious efforts along the way towards this union, which is a good thing. Okay. Now, with being all tied up, this represents the divine masculine's current situation. There is a major drama that is being played out right now all around you. And it is time for you to take stock of your situation so you can move forward and get out of this stuck energy, because this stuck energy is not serving you. It could be maybe that there's some technicalities or maybe some blocks that are in your way, perhaps. Maybe you're waiting on some contracts to be signed or an agreement to be made. But whatever the case is, it feels like it's self-imposed, okay? For some of you, this is very self-imposed, self-inflicted. And it just, the energy that I'm getting from it is that it's your own personal stuff, your own idiosyncrasies that you have not dealt with. And right now, when this card shows up, it's telling me that you need to take a look at your life and see how you have been your own jailer, holding yourself prisoner to your own will. It's like some type of emotional angst or a negative habit that you refuse to deal with. This card is now calling you out. It's telling you deal with your stuff. Get it together. It's time for you to cut the vines and make some serious changes in your life. Cut those cords. And a lot of the divine masculines are doing just that. They are cutting the cords to their karmics, family, work, job, career, and personal relationships that are karmic ties to them. They are cutting them loose at this moment. Because in their mind, why should they be a prisoner to their own victimhood? And that's the energy that I get from this, you guys. I get the victim mentality. I get victimhood. And divine masculine, you are not a victim. You are a victor. Okay? And Source is guiding you and directing you every step along the way. You have the financial constraints, and it's in reverse. I feel like some of you left the divine feminine in order to explore greener pastures. And a lot of you thought that the grass was greener on the other side, just to go there and find out that the grass was fake. That you were being fed lies. You were being fattened for the kill. And for some of you, your friends and your family, they lured you to where you are now. You're still struggling, I'm sensing. There's still some struggling going on financially. But you're coming out of it because you have it in reverse. And for some of you, you're not being honest about your financial well-being and status. A lot of you are still struggling. And you're struggling more now than what you were when you were with your divine feminine. But some of you are too embarrassed. And you're in your ego too much to even admit it. And this card exposes you anyway, you see. You can't deny that you're having some type of financial hardship yet, and still you act like it's all good when really it's not. And some of you are faking the funk, and it's becoming very detrimental to you financially because you have gotten yourself in more debt than what the law should even allow you. And I'm sensing that it's just the financial mess right now for you, okay? It's not a good energy that you're in because you have been enslaved to this lifestyle. Now you have the thinking man, and with the thinking man, this represents the divine masculine's energy, and that you are now no longer in a place where you feel that emotional bondage because you're thinking about your emotional and your mental pursuits. And now you have a combination of the two along with your spiritual acuity. You're now paying attention to your own personal growth as opposed to your professional and career. You're now open to receive the information that is necessary that can help you to strategize and develop techniques the way that you need to in order for you to walk your soul's path. You even admit yourself that you were once on a collision course heading for self-destruction, and yet you were willing to even take the risk beyond the hurt and the pain that you inflicted and caused on your divine feminine along the way, you see. Because at that time, you were out for self. But you didn't realize that you also showed your divine counterpart how to also have self-preservation. And so it came back to bite you. It was like a boomerang effect, okay? You wasn't expecting that. You was expecting her to always be there to shower you and to be there at your every beck and call. And she came from up out of that conundrum and that maze that you had her spinning around in. And for some of you, she has even withdrawn from the union completely because she now recognizes by staying true to herself meant standing in her autonomy, even if it meant going against her divine masculine. You see, the divine feminine, she recognizes that there was a karmic tie also between you and her. And so now she is starting to look at you as a karmic, even though she do know truthfully in her heart that you are her divine masculine. But she has to treat you like a karmic because you pulled on her solar plexus way too much. You were stealing her light. And whether you knew that you were doing it or not, she recognizes spiritual alchemy. She recognizes the metaphysics behind all of this. And she was no longer going to be the sacrifice. She was no longer going to be that sacrificial lamb that you threw up under the bus. And so now you're reflecting on how to right the wrong and to bring about some type of truce that will not only heal the mistakes from the past, but oh baby, to bring about a win-win situation for everyone involved and not just yourself. And in the spirit of sweet surrender, the divine masculine is becoming more selfless. You see, each day he dies to his old self and he is being reformed and renewed with a new spirit and a new zest for life. His spirit is ready to be led and guided and directed on the path that is meant for his soul's evolution. With the garden at the gate, this card is representing the wealth that the divine masculine has amassed. But as you can see, as this woman looks outside the gate, there is a whole world out there that is ready to be explored. But in order to do so, she has to give up her current lifestyle. This relates to you, divine masculine, to your job, your karmic careers, businesses, your housing, your location and where you live right now, your obligations and the karmic ties that they have with them. It's preventing the divine masculine soul to roam free. They may be happy on the material plane of existence at this moment, but for a lot of you, you basically sold yourself out. You sold yourself, and you sold yourself to the devil. And you allowed yourself to become spiritually bankrupt in the process. You have shut out the divine. You have shut out your divine self. And you have allowed for this cardinal man, which is your lower self, which is the devil, okay, to basically take up full possession of your body so you can enjoy the earthly pleasures and desires. You were not being your God self. You were not standing in your true authentic power or sovereignty. This path has kept you from your life's purpose and living your truth. And right now, this card is showing up because you have the choice right now. You can choose to shift your focus, redirect your mind, and gain a new spiritual perspective. And also gain the world on the outside of your gate. You're in this small, I would say, confinement at this moment. It's a solitary confinement because you put yourself there. Your thought and your emotions, you thought that they were leading you to your treasures, but they weren't. They led you to a path of misery. And the Spirit is telling you that your treasures lie outside the gate. Are you going to listen? This is no coincidence that next to the card, you have the door to Spirit. What is Spirit saying to you? What is this card saying to you? This card is speaking about spiritual awakenings and new beginnings. This door is open to you. It's the expansive, energetic realms of possibility. The orbs and the lights are guiding you through the clouds of the earthly world and leading you into a deeper comprehension of your eternal self. You see, you're within the grasp of knowing your real identity and knowing that is connected to your spiritual identity, your true self, because you have lost yourself along the way. And so Source is coming along and revealing all truths and their value and the power they have. There are no more lies that are standing in your way. The path is being cleared. Your divinity and your sovereignty is right at the door. This is the door to unlimited potential. For the changes that happen here, they're not temporary like the ones that you've experienced, but they're permanent and they are eternal. And they reach down to the deep core of the essence of your very being. And it reveals that the very essence of your soul, the core of who you are. And it forces you to increase your spiritual powers and your spiritual gifts as you deepen the connection with the spiritual realm. Do not be surprised if some of you divine masculines are becoming more intuitive and connected and awakened and more powerful in your own healing practices. Now's the time to open up to unexpected guidance and inspiration that Spirit has for you. This is the very thing that you have been running from, your spiritual gifts. And now you have been put in a place to where you have been made to feel uncomfortable so that you can fully embrace your true autonomy and use your alchemical powers that have been laying dormant because of your unwillingness to walk that path that you knew all along that you should be on due to your own thoughts and your pursuit of happiness. But instead, it was not a pursuit of happiness. It has become a detour for you that was full of conflict and chaos. Now you are reaching a state of enlightenment. And in the state of enlightenment, you have that core essence of who you are, not only that which lies deep within yourself, but that portion of yourself, that portion of your soul that also resides in another person, which is your divine counterpart. The other half of you lives, breathes, eats, and rests in your divine feminine. And I have come to the conclusion of your beautiful reading. Come and join me on the other side for $11.11, and let's see how this all unfolds. It is a good karma to like, share, comment, subscribe. You can leave a energy exchange donation if you feel inclined to, or you can purchase a gift from my gift registry through Amazon. I now wrap you in my love, and I cloak you with the light of Christ consciousness. And so it is, everyone. Namaste.